He would have wished to be here, but because he's not disposed, he's unable to be with us here this afternoon. I register his apologies to the organizers of this event, this very important event, and I shall make a few remarks on his behalf. I wish to acknowledge that there is nothing that is as good as anything which time has come. Nigeria has come of age in its democratic dispensation, and by this year it's exactly 20 years that we began to experience another phase of our democracy. Although it is not the first experiment of democracy in Nigeria, we have had various kinds of experiences which had been interrupted at different times in our political history. But it is apparent that our democracy has finally come to stay. We can no longer afford to be different from other nations of the world, as the best form of government anywhere in the world is a representative kind of government, which is democracy. And Nigeria has finally found its footing in the practice of democracy. We may be challenged by the normal tutelage of anything that is beginning to find its feet. But that is not to say that we are not on the right path. We struggle, we stumble, and we rise, and we move on. And I think that we have managed to move on. This is, I think, the fourth or the fifth election, successful election that we have conducted since the dispensation of democracy was restored in Nigeria in 1999. And it shows a considerable amount of progress. Nigeria has moved on. The last election was only a few months ago, and it was a very successful election. It was peaceful, despite the apprehensions that people held. It came and went very smoothly, and that was the way the one before also went. It shows that we are getting more and more matured democratically. We are getting more matured politically, and it is because we have evolved to this extent that the vision of the organizers of this event cannot but be applauded. Why? Because democracy is about the people. It's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, in the definition of Abraham Lincoln of the United States. And that definition seems to hold sway universally today. If it is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people, then all Nigerians are supposed to participate in the democratic process, regardless of where they are. Everybody recognizes that Nigeria has a great human resource that is outside of Nigeria. It will be a great disservice to our country if we refuse to acknowledge the huge human resources that Nigeria has outside of our country. And these Nigerians who live in the diaspora contribute a lot to the development of our country, and they need to have a say in what happens in that country, especially in the governance of our country. And I think that is what informed the decision of the organizers of this event to call us together to launch their vision for Nigerians in the diaspora to vote in the elections of 2023 and subsequently. It is a desirable aspiration, and the government identifies with this aspiration. That is why we are here formally as the agency of government in this country to identify with the vision of the organizers of this program. Every aspiration starts from somewhere. It may not be realizable immediately, but it shows that some people have an idea of a destination to head for. And unless you start the journey, you can never get there. And that is the reason why we must applaud the vision of the organizers of this event. 2023 is an aspiration, it's a target, and it is achievable if we deploy the right resources and energy to meet our aspiration. As you know, Nigeria being a democratic country now, everything goes by the rule of law. There are processes for achieving whatever we want to do, especially if they are political ends. And one of such is that we must seek to have a legislation that will empower INEC to conduct elections in the diaspora. From the opening speech of the coordinator, it was very clear there that that is part of the work they are going to be doing, to see how they can lobby, how they can mobilize the government to accede to their aspiration. And from the personal discussions that I had with the coordinator previously, this is not a small job, but that is not to say that it is not achievable. For those who are determined, there's nothing that's impossible. Somebody must start it, and he has chosen to bear the bull by the horn, and we must applaud his effort. We, as a government, I think that we are more than disposed towards doing anything to facilitate the development of our democracy. And one of such is by being available to discuss and to work with any group or individual that will help to actualize the vision of moving our country and our democracy forward. One of the things that I see as an immediate impediment, and it is not unsurmountable, and that is that there is no democracy, there is no voting, no electioneering process that can be complete without a credible head count of those that are going to vote. The coordinator also made mention of that in his opening speech, and I think that in the vision they already have plans for how that is going to be achieved. As a mission, we have sought to do that, but you know that it is not possible for us to do it alone. We have to work with the Nigerian community to be able to achieve a head count of Nigerians here in South Africa, and the same thing in other parts of the world. I am sure, as Nigerians ourselves, in the efforts, to establishing the head count of Nigerians, the difficulties that we have faced all the time. Many of our nationals are not registered. Many of them do not belong to any formal organization. Many of them are shy from interacting with the Nigerian missions, and for that reason it's difficult to know who is here, who is not here. Notwithstanding, the federal government has already gone ahead of this vision by enabling the National ID Card Agency to begin to register Nigerians wherever they are, with a view to issuing them with a national ID. I am registered. I have my national ID number, and I believe that a number of us here are already registered. South Africa, fortunately, is one of the 3 pilot countries in the diaspora where the national ID project has commenced, and they are already enrolling Nigerians with a view to giving the national ID, which will serve multiple purposes. It is going to be a card that will be an all-encompassing card that you are going to use to do your banking business, you are going to use to facilitate every government engagements in Nigeria eventually, and you are going to also use for registration for diaspora voting. That is why it's important that everybody tries and registers in order to get the national ID. Dr. Ogbe and your team, I want to assure you that we are always available. Any discussion, any interaction that you think will facilitate this, we will be more than willing to offer our services to you. But finally, I just want to encourage you, you need to work very expeditiously. If you have to meet the time that you have set for yourself, which is 2023, I do not think that you and I have the capacity to change that date, because it is the Constitution that has defined the date. what it means is that we are the ones who have to work extra hard to be able to meet that target. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Ogbe, for the beautiful presentation on behalf of the Consulate General Office.
Good afternoon, all. Standing on the existing protocol, however, I will like to mention especially the name of the Minister for Consular Affairs, the Honorable Ambassador Anthony Ogbe. All protocols have been duly observed. I want to thank the organizers of this program, the coordinator of the African Diaspora Union, for organizing this wonderful program. It is very important to know that the power to vote belongs to the people, and that we cannot allow such power to be taken away from us. Despite the fact that we live overseas in diaspora, in various countries of the world, we still have our inalienable right to cast our votes and elect the leaders that we want to represent our interest in our country. I know that it's not going to be an easy thing for the African Diaspora Union, the coordinator of the program, to achieve this in a very short period. But it requires a concerted effort by everyone, including the Nigerian Citizens Association. And we are in support of this program because it gives us the power as individuals to exercise the basic human right of casting our votes. Like the Minister for the Consular Affairs has said in his speech, it is not an easy task that they have taken upon themselves. It requires legislation, it requires contributions from interested parties and people of like minds, people who will give the required support to ensure the success of this campaign, because it's a campaign which will take a lot of effort to actualize. So, but I believe that with the support of everyone of the diaspora nations, especially the Nigerians in South Africa, if we collaborate and support this project, we definitely are going to be very happy. I want to give them a hand of fellowship. Nigerian Citizens Association will at all time support every project and programs that is geared towards the actualization of Nigerian in diaspora must vote. Thank you, and God bless you.
We can begin to talk from 19 to the dozen, non-stop, but if we do not take action, we will continue to talk. There's a bill currently at the Nigerian National Assembly to amend the Constitution to enable Nigerians in diaspora to vote. Our legislators, the same people that are representing us in the parliament, are refusing to even discuss it. There has been several attempts to
let them look at the bill, have a discussion, and at least pass that bill because of its importance. I must give credit to Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, who has now championed this issue of Nigerians in diaspora must vote. She has been to see the INEC chairman, Professor Yakubu, on this issue. The INEC is ready with regulations and policies that will enable Nigerians in diaspora to vote. Our legislators are refusing to have that bill discussed in the National Assembly. If we mean it, that come 2023, we shall be voting at any designated venue, be it the consulate, high commission, or anywhere, the job starts now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. All protocol duly observed, and as well I'm also standing on the existing protocols. A lot have been said concerning us as a Nigerian participating in election, because we cannot be having Nigerians outside Nigeria and say we cannot vote. We cannot be having Nigerians traveling home, buying tickets and doing businesses and said at the end of the day we cannot vote. I don't think that is fair. And I want to appreciate the coordinator of this program. Appreciate them very well for giving us this opportunity to open our eyes to see that it is a time for us as a Nigerian to vote. And tell the government that this health service belongs to you. You need a good road, 24 hours electric supply. That is what we need. And that is what we need, because if you don't vote, you will not be able to tell them what they are doing. That is wrong. But when you cast your vote, you are standing on a protocol to tell them that this is your right and you need them to do what is right as a citizen of that country. Thank you very much.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, the representative of the Nigerian mission. Mine will be very brief. I do not think we're here to preach to ourselves that we need the right to vote. I think more than anything else, I'd like to criticize the chances, the challenges that we might have getting there. I am glad to have heard from the Nigerian government representative here that they, as a mission, agree with us as citizens. But then I will as well want to put it to you, sir. Come 2023, if Nigerians in diaspora do not have the right to vote, we Nigerians will hold your consulate accountable. We'll hold you responsible. We'll ask you why. Again, I'm sure, Dr. Ogbe, you are aware that this is not the first time Nigerians have come together to ask for this right. Maybe we must as well look, how did the others fail? I must tell you here that any one of us that are over 20 years coming from Nigeria are so used to abandon projects. We are very, very used to abandoning our projects. I will request the brains behind this project not to please abandon it along the way. I also want to advise that if we've made references to countries that Nigeria has claimed to be bigger than, that they've granted their citizens in diaspora rights. I want to assure us that if it took only 10 pounds of energy for their citizens in diaspora to gain that right, are we prepared to expend as much as 10,000 pounds? Because if we don't, we will not get it. If we're not prepared to go all out, we might have to step on toes, definitely. If we're not, then we're wasting our time here. And also, there are millions of Nigerians in South Africa. Why is this hall so empty? Are we really ready for this job? Until when we are ready, because we need the people. When we are ready, we will get it. When I was speaking to the coordinator prior to today, I'd asked, can we not try and bring in, even if it's local councillors, people who make laws in Nigeria? They are the ones that we should maybe corner. If need be, I will hijack one of them until he sponsor that bill. We need to make moves. Let's stop talking. Let's stop dressing things. You have my support, sir. Thank you.
Good evening, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Standing on the existing protocol and all other protocols duly observed, it is with great humility and pleasure that we, the Nigerian women in South Africa, identify with this noble cause. Nigerians in diaspora must vote. There are more than 30 million citizens in diaspora. A large number of these citizens are top-ranking professionals in their endeavors. At the dawn of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, it's important that the government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria leverage on the residual capacities of this population in diaspora to enhance the socio-economic and political development of the country. Over and above this, the traditional citizens, that is, the diaspora population, has created a generation or generations of children who have come of age, and some have never been to Nigeria. It is important that we claim these citizens by offering them the right to vote and the right to be voted for. My fellow citizens, the time is now. We, the Nigerian women in South Africa, says yes to voting in diaspora. Thank you, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Consular Affairs, Minister Ogbe, representing His Excellency, the Consular General of Nigeria, His Excellency Pastor Godwin Adama. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like for you to allow me at this time to state certain facts about the diaspora voting. I want us to put it on record. It is something we must take very important. Then I'd like to begin this discussion with the opening declaration in the study guide titled "The Right to Vote" by the University of Minnesota, United States of America. That study guide states that one of the most critical ways that individuals can influence governmental decision making is through voting.
I'm a Nigerian. I've stayed in Nigeria for many years. My husband was here in South Africa. I was looking at the house in Nigeria. This function, you are living here, you go and tell your local groups, tell them that let them come and join this. We as South Africans, you are part of it. We have children that are in this country, born in this country. They have to know how to vote for their country, Nigeria, and vote for South Africa. This card that my brother was talking about, the ID card, it was launched, I was there when they launched it. People were still complaining, this thing is going to make us to be arrested. This thing is going to expose us because we are not documented. All those kind of things, we have to correct those things. If you are in the country, you need to be registered so that you can be protected. Nigeria and South Africa, we are a good country that needs to hold itself like this. If you allow GA to be in power, we will not see you again here. We will never see you again here. Please, we were being tortured, we have seen the scars, we never see our other brothers, they are still underground, buried alive. Would you allow that enemy to come and rule the country over your children? Please, let this work go on. Wherever you are a leader in any association, go and preach that here are the people. They say Nigerians must vote. All over the world, Nigerians vote. Thank you.
Great Nigerians. Our people used to say, the time has come to actually know who are courageous people and who are the people that has liver. It's easy for people to talk. Talk is cheap. But when it comes to acting, that's when we know who is courageous and who has liver. The Nigerian consulate, represented by the Honorable Minister, Tony Ogbe, have actually thrown a challenge without you knowing, bill again, to alter and change that little place constitutionally to allow Nigerians in diaspora to vote. Secondly, if that fails, we will be forced to take a judicial action. Sir, with all due respect, we have put in place plans to sue the federal government in Nigeria and to sue the government in South Africa, in America, in Canada, in Malaysia, in China, in United Kingdom, everywhere. By the time we go to court, whether there is a judicial right or not, the media will know, the world will know that we are out. If that fails, we'll take the next step, which, unfortunately, they wouldn't want us to take such step. We may have to make Nigeria to be sanctioned if they do not give us diaspora voting. I addressed a group of lawyers, honorable members, why in Owerri, and told them this is the step we are taking. Now, not only in diaspora, whether you have dual Nigerian citizenship, whether your mother is South African, and you think because you are carrying South African passport, some of us carry South African passport, whatever way it is, home is the best. For our children that have been left and our grandchildren born outside, for them to be interested in Nigeria, they must be voting. And we have to change.
The Nigerian Citizens Association, South Africa, NICASA, supports diaspora voting. Diaspora voting is a reality. It must be enshrined in our constitution, and we in diaspora must vote.
Here is to reiterate my commitment to make sure that this happens. Nigerians in diaspora must vote. Thank you.
Archbishop Benson Uwa. I'm the National Chairman of Christian Association of Nigeria, South Africa. I'm here to say that it is almost too late to be calling now for a vote. we should stop disgracing our country. Our country should, as a matter of urgency, amend that constitution and let us take our place in the Committee of Nations by granting these rights, these diaspora rights. Christian Association of Nigeria, South Africa supports that the right be granted even now.
I want to say a very big congratulations to Dr. Obu and everybody who are part of this wonderful initiative to make the Nigerian in diaspora a part and parcel of the democratic project in Nigeria. Indeed, we cannot say more than what every other person has said. It is long overdue.